A simple, hand-carved cedarwood fence that surrounded my dream home, a 9,000 square-foot custom-built mansion perched on the edge of a picturesque lake in Evergreen Hills. A neighborhood that looked like it was ripped straight from the pages of an upscale magazine. My wife, Emily, and I had spent years designing every inch of it. From the imported marble floors to the wraparound porch and rooftop observatory, it was more than a house. It was our legacy. And then came the HOA. The Homeowners Association of Evergreen Hills presented itself as a community-oriented board, striving to maintain harmony and order. In reality, it was a power-hungry clique of petty tyrants who saw themselves as rulers of a suburban kingdom. Their obsession with uniformity was legendary, and my cedar fence, according to them, disrupted the aesthetic integrity of the neighborhood. At first, I thought it was a joke. I had submitted all the proper paperwork, waited for approval, and even received a stamped confirmation email. But then I got the notice. A violation. A $2,500 fine. And a threat to place a lien on my property if the fence wasn't removed within 10 days. I appealed. I presented the approval email. They denied it ever existed, claimed it was a clerical error. My jaw hit the floor. Emily and I discussed it for hours. We had already spent $30,000 on the fence, which matched the exterior of the home. The idea of tearing it down because a few board members didn't like it? Ludicrous. So, I lawyered up. The moment my attorney sent a cease and desist, the HOA turned vicious. They began weaponizing rules. Suddenly, I was being fined for trash cans being visible from the street, grass exceeding acceptable height, and even improper curtain color, despite the fact that our curtains weren't visible from the road. They sent inspectors weekly, then daily. It was harassment, plain and simple. Then, one night in December, our world turned to ash. It started as a faint crackling sound. I had just gone to bed when our fire alarms exploded in sound. Smoke was pouring into the hallways. Emily screamed from the kitchen as flames engulfed the back patio. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and rushed toward the blaze, but it was too fast. The fire department arrived quickly, but not fast enough. Our home was destroyed. Completely. Utterly. Gone. In the aftermath, investigators determined the fire was arson. Traces of accelerant. Entry points forced. Surveillance footage mysteriously missing. The police began investigating, but there were no immediate arrests. My lawyer suggested something unthinkable, that the HOA, or someone connected to it, might have been involved. I was devastated, but I was also furious. Insurance helped, but it couldn't replace what was lost: heirlooms, personal artifacts, and the feeling of safety. Emily and I moved into a temporary home while I focused on one thing: revenge. That's when I learned something fascinating. The Evergreen Hills HOA was a non-profit entity governed by a board of elected volunteers and funded by dues from homeowners. But its legal structure? It was also a corporation and underfunded, badly managed, and leveraged by debt. So I made a move. I used a holding company to begin buying the debts held against the HOA. Small claims, supplier liens, legal bills, overdue landscaping contracts. Quietly, over 3 months, I acquired enough of their liability to influence their operations. Then came the vote. The HOA board was required by their charter to hold an emergency meeting if petitioned by over 30% of homeowners. I went door to door, explained my situation, showed the neighbors what the HOA had done to me: the fines, the abuse, the fire. Many were horrified. Some had their own horror stories. I gathered the signatures. At the emergency meeting, I revealed everything: the false fines, the harassment, the fire report, and most importantly, my controlling interest in the HOA's debt. I motioned for a vote of no confidence. The room went silent. Then, Slowly, hands rose. The board was dissolved on the spot. And I was elected president. My first act? Launch a forensic audit. Turns out, the HOA had been misappropriating funds for years. Personal vacations, unnecessary upgrades, payments to friends' companies. I compiled the evidence and turned it over to authorities. Second act? Fire every enforcer they had hired. Then, using the very charter they weaponized against me, I rewrote the HOA bylaws. Third act? Evictions. The board members who had harassed us? The ones who abused their power? I found legal grounds for non-compliance and rule violations they themselves had hidden. One by one, they were fined, exposed, and removed from the community. Emily and I didn't rebuild right away. We watched as the community slowly healed. Neighbors began speaking to each other again. People painted homes in colors they liked. Kids rode bikes without fear of citations. And yes, fences of all kinds went up. 1 year later, we rebuilt our home. Even better than before. And in the front yard? A bronze plaque that reads, "This house stands where injustice fell." Sometimes justice isn't found in courtrooms. Sometimes it's found in boardrooms, and sometimes the best revenge isn't fire, it's paperwork.